Welcome back to another training session of the TAE certification series. In today's session, we will cover section 6.3, factors to consider when implementing automation within new feature testing. Let's start with automating new functionality. When something is still in the early stages, like a new feature in an app or software, at that point, it's way simpler to set up test for it. Because it's not done, the test engineer can sit down with the developers and architects, and then together they can figure out the best way to test this new feature using automated tools. The test engineer brings in their testing expertise and shares what is needed for testing the new stuff effectively and efficiently. It's kind of planning ahead to test the new thing thoroughly before it's all set and done. Next, we have developing test for new features. When new features get added to the SUT, the testers have to create specific tests just for these fresh additions. They need to check if everything new works correctly or not. So the test automation engineer plays an important role in getting advice and opinions from test designers who specialize in specific areas or domains. So these test designers have deep expertise in particular aspects of testing, and together they evaluate whether the existing test automation solution, which is like a toolbox of automated testing methods, will be capable enough to handle the requirements and demands of the new features being introduced. It's all about ensuring that their current set of testing techniques and tools is well equipped to handle and adapt the evolving needs of the new feature. Then we have evaluating TAS modifications. When updates or changes are to they happen to the test automation solution, the team responsible for managing the automation tools checks these changes against the tools they currently use for automating testing. This step ensures that the new changes fit effortlessly with the existing setup. They also keep detailed records of these modifications to make sure that everyone is aware of what adjustments have been made. So the primary goal is to ensure that these changes do not create any issues or slow down the performance of the current or the committed testing tools. It's all about maintaining a smooth and interrupted testing process. Next, we have adapting Testware for new feature implementation. Let's say that we have a software application that initially used a simple text field to collect user information like user city. Now a new feature is added that includes a drop-down menu to select the city instead of the text input field. This change involves a different class of object, and to make sure that the feature works correctly, updates or additions to the testware components might be needed. So test scripts or test cases designed to interact with the text input field would require modifications to accommodate the new drop-down menu. Next point is that let's say that the existing testing framework relied on a keyword driven approach where predefined keywords, for example enter text and click button, are used to perform actions during testing. When introducing the new drop down menu feature, the existing keywords might not cover the actions specific to drop down menus like select drop down option, and so to maintain compatibility with the test tools, it might need to explore and identify alternative methods with the keyword driven approach that can handle the new functionality, which ensures that there is a seamless integration with the existing testing framework. Next, we have automating new functionality. Let's say that we have a scenario where a software application initially operates only on HTML based elements, and the existing testing tool is specifically designed to handle HTML interfaces. Now, a new functionality is introduced to the application that involves complex GUI components or technologies which are beyond HTML, such as JavaScript frameworks, or it can be any dynamic content. In such case, the existing testing tool tailored only for HTML interfaces might not effectively support or test the new functionalities. So there might be a requirement to assess and introduce a new testing tool which is capable of handling these diverse elements or technologies to ensure comprehensive and effective testing of the expanded environment. Then we have adapting automated tests to evolving test requirements. When we have new requirements for testing, like checking different aspects of the software, of adding new features, these requirements might affect the way our automated tests run and the tools we use to test the software. So we need to update our testing methods to fit these new needs. Before we start changing anything in our system or our test, it's a good idea to run our current automated test against the updated version of our software. This helps us to make sure that our existing tests still work well with the new or updated system. While running these tests, we keep an eye out for any changes in how our tests perform. Also, we look at how different tests might rely on or affect each other. This way, if one part changes, we know how it might affect the other areas in our testing process. If the updated system uses any new technology or tools, we need to check if our current testing tools like software libraries or interfaces are compatible with these changes. We want to make sure that they can handle the new technology properly. So it's not just about individual tools, but also about our overall testing automation solution. We need to ensure that our entire setup can smoothly work with the updates and integrates well with the new technology. This way, our entire testing process stays reliable and effective. Next, we have updating test cases with changing requirements. You know, when plans change, things need adjusting, right? Well, it's the same with our project requirements as well. When the stuff we need to do changes, like what the software should do or how it should work, we also need to update our test to make sure that it still checks if everything works as it should. So when these changes happen, it's important to include in our project schedule or plan the time and effort needed to update the test cases. We make sure that every requirement has a related test case. This way, we can easily see which specific tests need changes when the requirements change. Updating these tests according to the changes in the project requirements is super important. It helps us stay on track and also make sure that our tests still match what the project needs, keeping everything organized and in sync. Next, we have assessing TAS for current needs. Finally, we need to check if our current TAS, our test automation solution, will keep up with our software needs right now. We need to see if the way we are testing the software is still a good match for how the software works currently. We are asking ourselves these questions. Are implementation techniques still valid, or is a new architecture required? And can this be done by extending current capability? Okay, now let's split these questions. So implementation techniques refer to the methods, strategies, or approaches used within the TAS to perform testing activities. These techniques include the way tests are designed, executed, and managed. When we ask if the implementation techniques are still valid, we are actually questioning whether the current methods used within the TAS are still suitable and effective for the updated software, or do they need a makeover? Now, the second part, considering if a new architecture is required, it refers to the possibility of needing a completely different or updated framework or structure for the test automation solution. This can involve reorganizing the tools, methods, or overall design of the testing system to better align with the changes in the software being tested. Lastly, extending current capability means existing TAS better to handle new things without having to completely change it. So when we are discussing whether implementation techniques are still valid and if new architecture is required while extending current capabilities, we are actually exploring whether the current testing methods are still effective for the updated software or not. If the current methods do not work well anymore, we think about either making the existing methods better or trying a new way that fits the changes in the software which we are testing. When new functionality is being introduced, this is an opportunity for test engineers to make sure that the newly defined functionality will be testable. During the design phase, testing should be taken into account by planning to provide test interfaces which can be used by scripting languages or the test automation tool to verify the new functionality. So making sure that new functionality is testable and considering testing during design helps find issues early, maintain software quality, it reduces risk, and it makes testing easier. We already discussed this in much detail in section 2.3, so you can refer back to that one. With this, we have reached the end of section 6.3. In our next session, we will cover section 6.4. Till then, take care and happy testing.